On the track to qualify tonight, trackside at Darlington. Spring race winner Ricky Craven will be there. Busch Series star Ron Hornaday. And you never know who will stop by.
Kenny Schrader's supposed to be on there, coming off 2 good runs over the last 2 weeks.
So trackside tonight. Stan Boyd, second lap was quicker. The first one was a bit dodgy going into turn 3. So he does pick it up a little on his second lap. Dave? Dan Part is hoping for his first start of the season in the Busch Series, but 32.23 is probably not going to make the top 36.
Never touched it in practice, but when he was going for it, caught a little bit of the wall.
Happens here at Darlington. Jamie McMurray ready to take his Swamp Holly Orange #1 out onto the Lady in Black. Jamie, we've been watching qualifying. Do you have a shot at the pole here?
Well, I mean, I hope so. We had a pretty good car in practice, but really just need to get up front, get a good starting position. We did a lot of race practice this morning, and the car was really good, so just get through here without hitting the wall and get a good starting spot for tomorrow, and hopefully take the yellow Dodge to the front.
And Mike, if you remember, he did hit the wall on the final lap, finishing second backwards here at Darlington in the spring.
Still, it was second.
Still second, but it was exciting.
John Hayden in the Premier Chevy, 6th out of 8 right now, 30.89.
Mike, I want to point out, and I think Larry will back me up on this, what happens to a lot of these drivers when you get through 1 and 2 and really get, there's another car almost in the wall. When you go through 1 and 2 and carry your speed down the back straightaway, what happens? Turn 3 comes up so quick on you. Next thing you know, you carry that speed off in there. Your car doesn't hold like you think it should, and it slides up that extra half a foot that's been kind of like your cushion all day long, and you run out of trouble.
And in turn 3, you don't have that extra half a foot because turn 3 is tighter than turns 1 and 2. Tomorrow, final practice for the NASCAR Winston Cup cars for the final Labor Day weekend shootout at Darlington. Noon Eastern Time, happy hour right here on Speed.
For Rich Markle in this 68 car, did he ever have his hands full off turn 2 right there? Like you say, Jeff, it's so bumpy, and if the car gets loose, it just keeps getting looser and looser. If the car starts pushing or the front end don't turn, it just pushes worse until you slow the speed of the car down.
Would you say he was fighting bees about that time?
He was very busy.
Very busy.
Jeff, it looks like they've got the front of the car. They're trying to soften it to get the nose down into the racetrack, which works pretty well until you hit one of those dips, and then the car takes off like it's a boat busting awake.
Yeah, that's where you kind of like, and you hate to say this, but it looks like they've got the spring and the shock package not matched up very well. And the car collapses down and tries to rebound. It looks like it's almost like it's jerking the wheels up off the ground. The car is just really not very steady at all. But, I mean, he did a good job hanging on. And right now, he's 7th fastest at a 31.39.
Rick Markle trying to make his 10th Busch Series start. Phil Bonnefeld went out on the track in the Danny Boss number 22, but never got up to speed and pulled in. Here's Dave.
Yeah, Mike saying by with Casey Mears. Casey, you weren't exactly happy with that lap. Didn't do what expected you to?
No, I mean, we were a little bit tight in practice, and we didn't know quite what it was going to do for qualifying. Sometimes it frees up here, so we kind of left it alone. And just got real tight in that qualifying run. I mean, it was way tighter than it was in practice. So, I mean, not real happy with that because we lost a little time compared to where we were this morning. But, you know, I think the track has slowed down a little bit. It's getting hotter, so hopefully everybody else kind of slows down that little bit too, but I doubt it. There's some fast guys that are coming up. It's a solid lap, but not the best one for us, for sure.
All right, solid is the key anyway, Mike.
Ron Barfield is on track in the number 73 Ford. This driver who first came to notice under the tutelage of the Elliots down at Dawsonville, Georgia, and has had a kind of a sporadic career in and out of NASCAR since, but he's in the Perfection number 73, trying to work his way into this field.
Yeah, he was 38th quickest in practice at a 31.76. Probably going to need to pick it up from that. And he picks it up a little bit, but he's only going to be 9th quickest out of 11 cars that has attempted to qualify.
Guys, I want to back up just a second. We talked a minute ago about Rick Markle. When I was talking about how he qualified at a 31.39, he actually picked up 7/10 over where he practiced from.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big pickup. It's still not as quick as he wants to be, I think, and Ron Barfield has already shut his number 73 down and bringing it back here to pit road.
Here's Bob.
If this is any indication, this is what this car is going to do again for him. Better watch out. It'll be tough come Saturday.
The 61 of Justin Ashburn, the 31W Insulation Chevy, was 28th in practice.
He ran a 30.81. Now, if he can pick up a little bit from that, that'll put him with a pretty respectable qualifying run. We have 46 cars here, so that means to guarantee yourself a spot before we get into the provisional starts, you have to beat 10 cars to get in that top 36.
He took a provisional here in the spring and finished right where he started, 42nd.
This one right there, you can hear the rev limiter coming right there to keep him overdriving that corner.
But that's not a bad thing, is it, Jim?
No, it's not, because Larry talked about it earlier. The key to going fast here is getting out of it early and then get back in the gas. And for Justin, he run a 30.86. I mean, that's a good lap. 7th fastest right now.
It's just a little bit slower than he ran in practice, but
Oh, boy.
now that's more than a Darlington stripe right there, I think.
That's the reason why they call this place the track too tough to tame. She jumps out there right quick and gets you.
I mean, that's the thing that'll happen in a race. How many times, Jeff, have you been working with a driver, even DW, who won here several times, and you're going along, everything's good, and that wall just seems to reach out and grab you?
He got down on the bottom right there, and he started coming out. He just missed the apex of the corner. He started turning way too late. You run out of racetrack. You actually run out of racetrack.
And I would say as hard as he hit that wall, it's probably been the rear end housing, probably the trailing arms, everything on the right front. A lot of work to do on that car. Dave Burns.
How do we explain that?
You don't, Mike.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Darlington. You don't. I mean, how many times have you heard the drivers we've interviewed so far, as you watch Jason Schuler right there going to turn 1, they go out and they say, we just don't want to hit the wall.
Right.
I mean, that's what you're trying to do. You're challenging this racetrack to try to squeeze every ounce of speed out of it. Hopefully, you just don't make a mistake and get in that wall.
Jason Schuler trying to make his second start at Darlington back in the spring of this year. He started 20th on points, finished 22nd, driving the number 73 Ford. There he is in the 67, and that's a decent lap, 10th at a 31.23.
Jason looked nice and smooth on that lap right there. Everything looked like it's working pretty good. The race car looks like it's into the racetrack pretty good.
He actually picked up just a little bit from what he practiced, about a half a tenth. And it's so deceiving because you see right there below that white line right there, it's a different banking. It's a different degree, and I think that's what Kevin Harvick was talking about. You do that a lot, especially getting in the corner, is you clip the apron and it'll send you up the racetrack.
Kevin Harvick, quickest so far. Jason Schuler, 10th. And Kevin Grubb wondering about what might have been. Coverage of NASCAR Busch Series qualifying from Darlington on Speed Channels, brought to you by Parts Plus, America's family of auto parts stores and service centers. Mike Wallace in the Geico Chevy checks in at 29.91, and that is 5th fastest behind Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, Casey Mears, and Joey Clanton.
Good lap for Mike.
Veteran Morgan Shepherd right now getting ready to take the clock right here in the number 89 car. He's got a little experience around this racetrack, doesn't he, Larry?
Well, it's a good thing he has experience because this is the first laps he's making right here on this racetrack today. Did not make it out for practice. So he can only go faster than he ran in practice.
Car's looking pretty good right now.
Sound like he was off the throttle quite a while in turn 3 and 4.
And he's got to race his way in. This car has no order points, no provisionals, brand new team. 14th, 31.61.
So that beats 4 cars, so he's got to beat 6 more to guarantee himself a starting position.
2 second-place finishes here in the Busch Series. And his best start, 3rd, that came 11 years ago.
So we'd think maybe with that being the first laps on the racetrack, he can actually pick up a little bit on his second lap.
Second lap didn't look too bad, at least visually, around the racetrack.
Picks it up a little bit.
Almost a 10th.
don't move him up a position, but he picks up some time.
Bobby? Well, this is interesting. This is Brad Teague, who practiced the 77, because Mike Potter, who practiced this car, the 52, just qualified in the 77. Potter's time, 33:12. May well not make it into the field, but here is Brad Teague trying to better that in the number 52.
And this car was 34th quickest in practice.
Now, what were they doing? Playing musical chairs and musical seats, and when the music stopped, they just wound up in those cars?
See if it paid off.
Boy, good run for Brad Teague. Seventh quickest. The car did look fast. It looked like it was going around the racetrack in a hurry.
It looked good, but right now I'm Mike Potter and I say, hey, man, you got my car, and now I'm out of the race in your car. What's the deal here? I wonder if we're going to swap back for the race.
Because the fastest this car ran in practice was 31:43, so it's a second quicker than in practice.
Well, great job right there.
Yep, Brad Teague, great job right there.
Slows down about 2.5 tenths on the second lap, which was expected.
Good run for Brad. Dave? This is Jimmy Kitchens in the NRA Chevrolet. He started 28th here last fall. The first lap, 31:85, wasn't going to get the job done. They told him he needed to step it up on lap 2, and he tried.
That's hard to do at Darlington. Here you see him going through middle of 3 and turn 4, picking up the throttle, up the racetrack. A lot like Kevin Grubb a while ago with that 26 car back. It just comes around. Not enough grip to hold the race car, but fortunately, there's enough apron at the bottom of this racetrack coming off turn 4. He got her woed down and stopped before the wall got there.
Very lucky man right there. You can believe that. But that's what happens when you get in a hurry here. You see, go in, the car slides up, and when it gets up in that little white area, not gray here, it's white, all of a sudden you lose all the back end, the grip goes away, and around the back end comes.
So 21 drivers have made qualifying attempts. Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray are the quickest. Road racer Kenny Hendrick, the 1998 Formula Ford SCCA National Champ, took the Insure94.com Chevy for a ride into the concrete.
This was coming off turn 2 on his first lap. A lot like we've seen. I mean, that was into the wall hard. He was 19th quickest on this lap at a 31:79. He's one of the cars that just about has to get in the top.
Jamie Mosley's first lap, not fast enough, 32 flat, and he tried too hard on lap 2. We've seen this before.
32 flat on lap 1, right side flat on lap 2.
How do you say that? Same verse, same song?
Same song, second verse.
Yeah, there you go, something like that.
So Mosley, we may have a provisional here. Let's show you what happened to Mosley.
How many times have we seen this already in this qualifying session? You're carrying so much speed off this corner, and you just run out of racetrack right there off turn 2.
I think we need to try to explain something too. Because the way 1 and 2 is designed, you go in and you actually run up and you drive straight at that wall, and just before you get there, you have to kind of cut the car one more time. And if you're carrying too much speed or you don't have the right,
Ford's going to have to sweat it because it's pretty much up to Gus Wasson. If Wasson, who practiced 26th fastest, makes the top 36, Morgan Shepherd will likely be headed home. And if Wasson doesn't make the top 36, then Shepherd is in.
Gus's time in practice was a 30:69, and that would definitely put him into the show.
So the 29-year-old from Lincoln, North Carolina, who's made 2 Darlington starts and 3 starts this year, Bristol, Nashville, and Kentucky, has his shot.
Right now, with the way that the qualifying session has slowed down for practice, if you just run in the low 31s, you're in good shape.
That car looked nervous off the corner.
You'd be nervous too, coming up off that corner like that.
It's go or go home for Gus Wasson. Good lap, 28, 30.89. And Wasson will race here tomorrow.
where's that crew chief, Larry? Where's that crew chief?
I don't know where he needs to be keying that button right now. There you see him getting real loose, nervous again, more nervous than the first lap off turn 2.
Pushing that envelope. envelope. And here at Darlington, you don't want to push the envelope.
No, you do not. She will push back.
Exactly right.
He slows down about 3/10 on that second lap, but he is in the show.
Well, now let's double check this. 43 cars have had their chance at the track. There are only 2 left lined up to run. We are told that Tammy Jo Kirk will not make a qualifying attempt, and that we'll see how that sorts out in the provisional group. Dave?